All right, just changed oil in my 1952 Super C. Not that it had high hours on it, but it's been a while. Um, and I don't know what is going on there. That's one issue with antique tractors is they're leakers. Um, anyway, I just had changed oil in the Super C. This tractor has high hours on it from about 1952 till I guess around 1960, 61, somewhere in there. This was the only tractor that my great grandmother and grandfather had on their farm. They covered a lot of ground with this tractor. It was a haying tractor. And my uncle had told me there were some days where the only time this got shut off is when they had to put gas in it, that it ran from morning till night making hay. I mean, you figure you have to mow everything with it. He had a conditioner, then he'd run over, then a hay rake, then a baler, and then once the wagons are full, then this has to run the wagons. And they did pretty much hay for the dairy operation. So I know I overhauled it about 15 years ago. It's been overhauled since because there were some Chrysler bearings in for the pistons. But yeah, it's seen its share of work. I just use it around the farm a little bit. It's something I could never get rid of, being that it was my granddad's wide front end. Anyway, I was just changing oil in it, and I was thinking of an issue we had in the shop the one time. The Case IH DX series. If you want to hear a wild story, you can believe me or not, but this is what we found, and it was a pretty interesting thing that we found. The DX series, it's the small compact, subcompact series of tractors that Case IH was making. I guess it was an answer to Kubota's line of tractors. Now, Case, they were making little diesel compacts for a while. You had the 235, 245, that in that era. It's basically a lawn mowing tractor, heavy duty diesel. So the DX, we had a DX in, and the motor was seized up. It wouldn't crank over. We did a lot of different tests till we found that the one connecting rod was bent. It's a little 4-cylinder diesel engine. It might have been a 3-cylinder. I don't even remember. Anyway, one of the connecting rods was bent, and we pulled the head off, and we found that once the cylinder head was off, we could take a micrometer and see. Once the head was off, we could turn the engine by hand. But anyway, we found that one of the pistons wasn't coming all the way up to the head, and there's a measurement on from the head to the block to the top of the piston, and it was below the measurement. So that told us we had a bent connecting rod, and we were trying to figure out why, because this tractor didn't have many hours on it. It was a while till we could figure out, but anyway, and this is the part that sounds far-fetched and wild, but maybe you guys have heard it. When they went to change oil in this little DX tractor, the top valve cover where the oil goes in, it was a real big diameter hole. And I don't know how many quarts it took, if it was 5 or 6 quarts. But anyway, when the guy changed the oil, he had just dumped just took the whole jug, 4 or 5 quarts, and flipped it upside down, and it all ran into the engine all at once through the top valve cover. And what we could figure was the oil had leaked past the valve and filled up the top of the piston. And when they went to crank it, it was enough to bend the connecting rod. And sure enough, we did some research, and Case IH had a service bulletin about filling the engine compartment too fast through that giant hole in the top. So ever since I saw that, it was kind of a weird freak thing that happened to their tractor. And I've never forgotten it since. Every time I change oil, I don't just dump the whole thing. The C takes about 8 quarts, and I just let it go in slow, so I know it goes through all of the valleys instead of getting under the valves and on top of the head. So yeah, real interesting thing that we had found, and it's something I never forgot. And I kind of take my time filling the engine oil. You can get a pretty big funnel and a pretty big jug for oil, and but yep, this is the 1952 Super C. It's like I said, the restoration's about 15 years old. Might touch it up again. I know it's got a lot of leaks. whatever that is back there. I think it's a PTO seal. I replaced that 3-4 times. I think it might be the bearings that are going or something. I'll have to look at it. So we'll do a nice touch up on it one of these days. So thanks for watching.